Welcome back to episode 49 of the Top Loaded Podcast, and it's not just an ordinary episode. This is the London Card Show special. Yep, it seems like 2 weeks ago, but we are back another week at the London Card Show. It's going to be bigger, better, and just everything's fantastic like usual. So we're going to be buying, selling, trading everything on Saturday and Sunday, and obviously at trade night, meeting all of our great friends. And first of all, Harry. This is going to be confusing for everyone. We've got two Harrys on this week. I always say this. But obviously, HGA, as I'm going to just call him for this episode to make it easier. How are you doing, my friend?
Yes, very well. Yeah, it always gets confusing when we have Harry back on, doesn't it? But yeah, week of the London Card Show. Very, very excited. As we all say, it absolutely flies around. We think, we've still got another 2 months, and next thing you know, we're 5 days away. So, but no, yeah, absolutely buzzing for it, and really looking forward to getting back down there and getting involved.
Right, yeah, so 100%, we absolutely can't wait for it now. And our first guest of actually a few this week, because it's a massive bumper special, is the one and only Harry from the London Card Show. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Good to be back on. As you say, it seems like yesterday we were sitting down to do the show and to talk about the show in October. But yeah, I'm all right. I'm all right. All good. Looking forward to getting in there. It's going to be big.
I was going to say, I think that is the perfect way to start. Obviously, we've all come to love Sandown Racecourse and the downstairs of it, and now it's but I remember when the first time you come on, we was talking about the evolution of the London Card Show and the evolution. We've had trade night, we've had a 2-day show, and now it's the move upstairs, which I remember you saying to me that I can't wait to actually be able to pull it off, and it's happening. So the evolution is very well underway.
Yeah, very much so. It's something we're very passionate about. Taking like one step forward rather than 10 at the same time. Just kind of building. Yeah, it's going to be huge. 200 tables. We're going to have a main stage. We're going to have a creator area like live streaming. So it's going to be really, really good. We've got some huge, if not the biggest, sponsors from the card collecting world. So yeah, it's going to be a spectacle. And I personally, I'm a bit annoyed I've got to run it, because if I wasn't running it, I'd certainly be jumping in and getting involved.
Perfect. I think briefly, just before we talk about obviously the upcoming show this weekend, just a quick look back to the tail end of 2022 and actually 22's year, because it was a very successful year from how we see the London Card Show and how it progressed. So how did you find 2022 for you in running the show and also obviously expanding it as we went along?
Yeah, it's kind of like it went exactly as we wanted to an extent. Obviously, there were hiccups in the road. There were things which didn't exactly go to plan, fire alarms. So but it's just all part of it. A lot of about running a business is about improvisation to things we're not expecting. But as I've said, we kind of knew the growth we wanted to go on, like step by step, and we kind of stuck to that quite well with the plans, as you've alluded to, the trade, well, firstly moving to Sandown, then the trade night, then the 2-day, and now we're going up to the Surrey Hall, which is a big step. It's almost a brand new show for us, new floor plan, few new sponsors, new areas. So it's taken a lot out of myself and the team, but we're really looking forward to it.
Yeah, like I say, I remember, I think it was a middle show last year when I got there, and there was a honey convention on upstairs, and I was like, come on. I was looking at it thinking, if they can do it, so could we. And then I know like the card world's getting big, so like we're really good to see it move upstairs. And I've got to ask one thing. Obviously, that fire alarm was a massive pain in the backside, but obviously, I would not know where to start, because no doubt vendors didn't want to leave because they had their stock in there.
Yeah.
But how, obviously you don't plan, you try and plan for everything, but did that ever even did you even ever imagine that coming up?
No, I mean, we've been briefed about it, like the venue always does in this situation. You need to get everyone out, and a lot of the vendors rightfully didn't want to leave their stuff. And unfortunately, I just be like this isn't really a question. I kind of have to get you to leave. There's a fire alarm. So stuff like that, I had to like reassure them that, well, we've got insurance, that kind of stuff, or all the logistical kind of stuff So we kind of very quickly knew that obviously the vendors had to come back in first. We had to check the passes, all that kind of stuff. So we had our procedure, which we kind of hadn't thought we'd need, but we kind of did implement. So yeah, it's something which was unexpected. We hope not to happen again for more reason than one. But again, everything was responded very quickly to the fire department, which we're very grateful for. And similarly, the all the attendees and the vendors who were very understanding.
Yeah, fantastic. I'm going to pass over to HJ now as we look forward to the first show of 2023 and what's going to be another bumper year.
Yeah, I think everyone is now talking about London coming forward, and we're in the week of the London Card Show now. I think I will very slightly touch on the subject. Obviously, CardCon has just been. Anything on the subject of obviously potential competition or anything sort of going forward this year?
Yeah, it was an interesting one. I think it's been one of those things which is kind of a lot of people have seen, and some people don't agree with it, with how it was set up, how it looked very similar to a London card show, and being a former sponsor, how it was they partnered with an individual who wasn't seen fantastically in the eye of the hobby, and yeah, it seemed to go well. The Saturday certainly seemed to go okay, go well. I'm not really sure about the Sunday. Sunday's always a tougher sell. Heard mixed things, but look, when you label yourself as Europe's premier show without doing a show, you're always going to have people scratching their heads because it's a bold statement. They shot for the stars, and it's just one of those things that maybe they'll build, maybe they won't. But like I said, the London Card Show isn't what it is today, and it hasn't happened overnight. This is going to be our seventh, eighth show now. So we're still novices, amateurs in the scene in our eyes, but at the same time, we've gone from 10 tables, 40 attendees to 30 tables to 50, and grown it, and we're really passionate about how we've grown it, and that comes with trust. That comes with the respect of the public, and I'll be the first to say respect is earned and not given. And yeah, that's all I can really say on the matter. It's good having another show, but it needs to be run properly. It needs to be run in a good way where people can trust. And I'm definitely not saying CardCon didn't do that. I'm just saying that it's important that they build and look to build rather than just expecting it to be a 300 table show, which we would never even aim for at this stage.
Yeah, I think you probably pretty much hit the nail on the head there in terms of CardCon and sort of how it went. I think looking forward now to London this Saturday. What obviously can people expect? Obviously, we're moving upstairs now. You've got the main stage. In terms of you've got some big names coming in there. I understand also you've got a very small announcement about 2 brands that we're going to be coming in for the upcoming show. But yeah, it's set to be a bit again another step up from October.
It's exactly my point, and not kind of hit the nail on the head there. We have kind of done things. This is the biggest step we've done. We've gone bigger tables. Bigger capacity, more tables. And as well, we're doing a live stage, so a little bit more entertainment, a break area. For those of you who remember way back at Tolworth, we did have a break area, but it just didn't really go to plan because it needed manning. So we've got Whatnot on board that are taking that on and are going to be streaming all day on various with various different people. And similarly, the main stage with Tops. We're really excited. We've got a pretty cool lineup there. Some like a football freestyle is going to come do some stuff on the Sunday with a match tax kind of theme day with the swap shop, which is going to be really, really good. Trying to get more families in. But we've also got interviews and Q&As with the likes of Tops and eBay, which we're really excited for. And we're just trying to expand. As I say, we're trying to go one step bigger every time. And of course, there's a ceiling. There is a ceiling to everything, but we feel like we can carry on growing and want to start competing with with the boys over in the States.
Yeah, I think there's so much. I think, you know, as the shows have gone by, we're seeing so much more potential that we can compete with those big boys in the US, and the capacity is getting there. And, you know, I feel like London Car Show is growing to that way of things. So it's good to also just to hear, also, you know, we're growing the capacity, growing the tables, growing the vendors, and it's gradually scaling up also to where, you know, you may have envisioned it, you know, when you first put on your first show. So I can't imagine you probably got it to think this far ahead. But no, yeah, as I said, I think everyone's really looking forward to this weekend, and it's kind of set to be, you know, the biggest, obviously, London Card Show yet. How have ticket sales been for you? Also, know we saw a post go out the other day with Saturday now being sold out. Obviously, you know, tables sold out in the first sort of hour. But yeah, how have sales been this time around?
Saturday we've sold out. There's going to be around 1,700 people there. We kind of didn't want to get to the stage of as busy as it was downstairs, and obviously it's a bigger area upstairs, so more people can fit in. But it's the only negative. Not the only, but it's one of the main bits of feedback we got that was negative, saying that it was almost too crammed, too busy on that Saturday. So we want to kind of avoid that, make it more enjoyable for the attendees, so they don't have to wait to go to every stall they're at. And it's a great problem to have, don't get me wrong. But yeah, we're really happy with Saturday, obviously selling out. Tables, obviously, Saturday sold out, 200 tables sold out in, I think, 2 hours, which is just bonkers. Sunday took a little bit longer, but as I said, Sunday is the toughest sell. We're expecting around 800 people for the Sunday, which for us is more than we were anticipating. And trade night is going to be bigger and better than ever. PSA will be sponsoring that again, so that's going to be good. So yeah, over the course of the weekend, we are anticipating to have 3,000 people be there, give or take, which is big, which is a lot more than our forecasts were predicting.
And any more fire alarms, or are we not anticipating any of those?
Shut up.
Like we always say, expect the unexpected.
Exactly. Ideally not, but again, what happens. All I'll say is this is going to be so cringe. I read it from, I don't know, an Instagram page from last time, but it was like the London ticket was the hottest ticket in town, that even the fire department showed up. So I was like, yeah, fair. I'm not going to copy that, because people will absolutely, all my mates in the hobby will absolutely crucify me. And as I look at you two, people listening on Spotify, they are just cringing to anything. So
I mean, they say there's no such thing as bad publicity, so you can't knock it too much on the head that you got a bit of a talking point around the last show. So
we're always happy to give the fire department a few free passes. They just need to ask.
A few free packs of chrome on the side.
Exactly. No, it's going to be a great day. But the preparation that myself and my team have done is tireless. Long days in the build up to the show, meetings. Because as I've said, this isn't just about a show now. It's about an event with the main stage and the break area, or the creator studio. So yeah, we're looking forward to it. There's a little bit of everything there for everyone. We've got guest artists coming down who've worked on some unbelievable sets like Star Wars, like really high end stuff. So definitely go and check them out. And yeah, we can't wait.
I think it's one of those things, obviously, for people that are listening and watching, you know, they go to the show and just see it as a show. But then when you get people like you on that can talk about the behind the scenes, it's incredible to hear what goes on from, you know, the end of the show to then looking forward to the next one, and the man hours and the countless meetings that go into putting on the show as it is. So yeah, it's really interesting to hear, obviously, the whole picture as opposed to just that weekend of the show. So yeah, I'll pass it back over to Ron. I think he's got a couple more talking points.
Yeah, I think the thing to pick out from what you just said was, a good question for you would be, obviously now it's where it's from a show, it's going definitely into an event. And I think that's what a lot of people say. Like, if you look at the different American ones, you've got shows here and there, and then the big ones are events. Was that a goal of yours to actually create an event as well, rather than just a show like at the beginning? Because when you look at the nationals, Dallas shows, Burbank shows, it's not all about just tables and shows.
Yeah.
It's a lot more bringing the hobby to the people who are going, and I think that's one of the main things that people really appreciate when they see them kind of things.
It's the smaller things that we've kind of worked on, and doing a lot of reading, you kind of learn that 1% matters. When you do it, increase 10 lots. And by that I mean, like, if you just keep it as it is, you might expand, you might grow, but not to the rate whereas if you try and improve one little thing every time. And that's what we've tried to do every show. And I'll be honest, and I know I've said it on here before, but I started a show up simply because I wanted there to be shows in the UK. There wasn't, like, it's part entrepreneurial, but very much part collector, because I just wanted to be a part of it. And unfortunately, it's grown to a rate where I can't even be, well, I can be a part of it, but not in terms of the collector. And it's awesome walking around saying hello to everyone, speaking to everyone, kind of looking at what's there, but then I'll get radio in my ear that I'm needed the other end of the hall. So excuse me. So it's one of those, but we grew and we grew. I didn't see it until, I'd say, maybe this point last year when we moved to Sandown and we went, there's possibility for this to be an event, rather than just a show where we could do stuff where the whole family could come down, try and get it. So if a mum and a son, that father and a son, whoever, daughter want to come down, let's try and get it so the whole family come down. So there's just expanding it like that, give it more reasons. So we've got a couple names which we're hoping to bring in for the show, which again, even at this stage, it's last minute, to try and, like, influence us down. But we've got footballers coming down this time, like professional footballers. I think Tossin is making his best efforts to be there. Obviously, being a Premier League footballer, you've got to understand that timetables and schedules don't always work well. But it'd be great to have him down. We've got a few Championship players down now, which is going to be good to see them. Again, a couple influencers and people which are quite big in the scene, with quite high up and well known in the card industry, will be coming. And yeah, I think it's testament last shows that we've got so many people from across the pond coming over, and none less than Ryan. So yeah, they're keen to come over again. The card quite often talks the Card Talk podcast, and they're quite keen to come over, all three of them this time. And yeah, it's back to point in terms of the event. It's one of those things that is possible, but it wouldn't have been possible without planning and step after step. So we're looking forward to seeing the response that people are going to have to this new look London Card Show.
Definitely, I think just like bouncing back on the point of, like I was saying about Ryan, like a few of them coming over. How does it feel like after, like, even though straight away after the show you're looking at the next one, when you go on YouTube and you're seeing like some of the bigger creators actually from like doing the videos from the show, you must have felt like quite like proud of what you've achieved, because it's not easy, A, just to make a show, but B, then to attract some of these names to fly halfway across the world to it as well.
It's one of those things where I'm a very humble person. I don't like thinking I've not succeeded, because I know I'm doing and succeeding with the show, but sitting back and going, right, this is done well, because then you kind of take your foot off the accelerator. For me, I'm always trying to improve, whether it's, as I said, the 1%. And sometimes I do get the kind of like, oh well, I've done this, like this is like my creation, and I'll be the first to say my team helped me a hell of a lot. I'm just the unfortunate person that is the face of it. So when there's a lot of hard work done behind the scenes, as I said, with meetings, with promotions, with graphic design. It's not just me, but someone had to start it, and that was me. So I'm very proud that I've done that, but I'm not the kind of person that will go around and trying to go, oh yeah, I did this, I did that, because it's not going to get me anywhere. But I'm proud of myself, but always looking ahead, always looking how we can progress and improve.
As I say, I remember on one of the last shows, it's good to coincide the shows with these big sporting shows. Obviously, we had UFC in London once before, and now this one is Super Bowl weekend.
Yeah.
So I'm quite a massive fan of. It's going to be a lovely day because it's going to be car show all day now. You stay up at 12 to about 4 a.m. watching the Super Bowl.
We're gonna need a nap somewhere, mate. We're gonna need a nap because I'll be doing the same.
Incorporate that for the next show, a little nap room or something in the corner.
Mate, don't tempt me. Don't tempt me.
Just get radio and fruit. Harry. Oh no, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's good. We don't always do it intentionally, but for this one, it was kind of like, again, looking to the next show. Dates will be announced on the Sunday, so there will be an opportunity and tickets. There's a bit of an exclusive there for you boys. But tickets will be released on the Monday, the day after the show. Just because the time between this show and the next show isn't as long as it normally is. But nonetheless, there's a lot going on. Obviously Super Bowl Sunday. So expect NFL to be a big talking point. But of course, I'm really excited, and you know me, F1. Cars have already started being released at this point. And so, yeah, hopefully we'll be seeing a brand spanking new Mercedes. It's going to be having a certain George Russell at the top of the podium a lot this year.
Oh, well, that's definitely something we both want to see. And like you say, it's definitely full in F1 season now. And before we touch on one last thing on the card show, we've spoke about it quite a bit. Just needed to get your opinion on F1 Chrome. Obviously, the new one, what's come out.
Okay.
We've quite like. I'm personally, Harry always corrects me here what the name is, but the actual track cards I love. I need to buy them. But better or worse than the last Chrome? Obviously, the first one is the legendary one.
Much better.
We're in.
I think it's clear. It's weirdly second year. I think they tried to jazz it up too much. Although print run was just as low as first year, it's just not a nice card. And I think people were, stay with me here because this is a long kind of theory. It was still so close to 2020 that product was still available, the cards were still kind of readily available. So people were kind of still going, you know what, I'd rather spend, excuse me, a little bit more on the on 2020 than I would on 2021. But now kind of like 2020 is just gone. Like if you see a box of that, you're in dream town. And if you see it below like 2k pounds, you're laughing. So there's that. 2021 came along, it started off hype and then it kind of just crashed. I remember like over the case of a weekend, it kind of, or not a week, maybe a week or so, it just, I don't, no one knows why, but it just kind of like boxes were readily available, maybe Tops sent out a load and I don't know. But for some reason, 2022, it's just more widely spread. Maybe it's because the likes of Whatnot on the streaming are readily available, so breaks are much easier to do. You don't have to sign up to a certain breaker. You can literally go, okay, well, I'll just join that break now. Just join that break. It's more readily available. So there's a few things, but even the designs are kind of nicer. The sets are kind of nicer, and although there's no massive rookies again, you've got kind of, it's more modern. You've got obviously George Russell is Mercedes. Mercedes outfit, Albon back in the back on the grid, which I know he's a fan favorite. So yeah, it's I haven't got involved in loads of the breaks this year just because I've been so busy. But at trade night, and certainly if I get 5 minutes of the show, I'll certainly be trying to pick up a couple boxes and degen at the trade night like I normally do.
No, I would love to. I hope to hear a message or a post come out. Oh, another big hit is heading your way, and in that lovely little steel case I know you've got with some of the lovely hits, which I think me and Harry was eyeing up quite a lot. Yeah, for me,
some things you look but you can't touch.
Yeah. From like we say though, it's going to be a great show. Trade night's going to be fantastic for everyone having on. But obviously, just for people getting there, obviously it's slightly moved in terms of moving upstairs. So I guess parking is going to be exactly the same in terms of if anyone's driving along, that the car park's going to be lovely and right next door for everyone to park at.
Yes. It's the entrance is obviously going to be the main entrance this time, which is really nice. Instead of the side entrance, as good as that was. Vendors Again, going to be going around the back instead of using that first door to go into the other hall. It'll literally just be the 2 doors down. So in terms of logistics from that aspect, it's fantastic because we're at a new venue without being at a new venue. And people have the familiarity of, oh, okay, well, it's the same train, it's the same location, just with the luxury of it being in the bigger halls. So yeah, I'm always very grateful to Sandown. They're very good and easy to work with, and have been very helpful. And yeah, I'm just looking forward to getting in there, seeing it. I'm going to be sick of the sight of the place. I've been there like 3 times in the past couple of weeks anyway. But then on Friday, I'm going to be there from noon till probably God knows what time, 10 o'clock at night. Back there, probably 6:30, 7 in the morning. The next day, until probably trade night finishes at 9, so I'll be there till 10. Sunday, be there again 7 till probably 6. So what I'm saying to everyone is please don't try and call me on Monday just because I'm not going to pick up.
No, we can't wait for it this weekend. It's going to be an absolute blast. That hopefully we're going to be got a load of content lined up, not just at the show, but after the show and everything around it, because we're really looking forward to it. So do pay close attention to some things that will be coming out on the YouTube very soon, which will be great. But like we say, we wish you all the best for this weekend show. We can't wait for it. We obviously Harry will be there Saturday, Sunday, and trade night. I'll be there just a Sunday. But as I say, good luck with the show. We'll see you this weekend, and hopefully you're walking away on Sunday with at least a couple of F1 cars.
Fingers crossed. No, yeah, it's looking forward to it. Just a few pointers, as always. I know I always say it, but all tickets are picked up on the day of the event. I'm sick of saying it, but it's very fair enough. So don't worry if you haven't got your tickets. You weren't supposed to. If you do have your tickets, they're fake. So yeah, rock up with a form of ID. Get in there. As always, 9:30 for VIPs, 10 o'clock for general admin. For the Sunday, you can buy tickets on the door. For the Saturday, there might be a very, very few amount on the door because there's always cancellations last minute. So yeah, do DM us. We might be able to get you in on the Saturday. But yeah, as always, any questions, feel free to drop us a message on our Instagram or send us an email from the website. We'll be sure to get back to you as soon as we can. And yeah, we can't wait to have everyone back at Sandown, back at the London Card Show for what is the biggest show in the UK, and yeah, see you all there.
Yeah, honestly, we can't wait for it, and we can't wait so much. We had to do a special this week, so thank you very much for joining us. We're now going to move over to our second part of the thing where we're joined by Third Down Displays to talk about everything being a vendor at the show. So we'll catch you right after this little break. And massive thank you yet again for Harry for joining us. And now joined by I've got it prepared. This is one I prepared earlier. The older model of the stands, and obviously was lovely purchase by those guys at Third Down Displays, who are going to show off some lovely new models. And you know what? Going to try and tempt us for all our money because Harry's probably eyed up that 17 stands in the pre-show. But how we doing?
Yeah, not bad, mate. Not bad at all. We busy getting all the new stuff ready, getting the printers printing ready for London. Get everyone's stands ready to be down there. Lots of pre-orders. So yeah, very busy in the time up to the card show next weekend.
Yeah, I was going to say last time this weekend, whatever it is, but we're recording this the Friday, so 8 days before the show. So if there's any mix-up, there's mix-ups.
Late on Friday as well, not early. Late on Friday.
What our commitment to the calls is just beyond going far away and beyond. But last time we spoke, obviously he was gearing up. It's nearly about 10 months ago now, and we were sort of talking about the upcoming shows and trying to ramp up. And obviously since then, there's been new card stand designs. But how has been like going to shows for you guys? Because obviously a lot of people know buying at shows, but how is it actually selling at these kind of shows?
So it's all about getting your tables right. So a lot of them now have the same sort of tables. So we've been to a few that tables are slightly thinner, some are slightly longer. And there is an initial moment when you see the table, you're like, oh, what am I going to do with that? Whereas definitely at London and those that are the bigger venues, you know what you're going to get. They all use the same sort of table. So you can actually sort of plan your space out before you go, so you know what you're putting there. yeah, so we've done probably since we last spoke, probably 8 shows. The all over the UK. So obviously we went to Scotland, we've been in Wales, all the way down to Brighton. Then we went over to Germany, did the show over there. So yeah, lots of different experiences. Different shows, so some quieter ones, some busier ones, some in big venues, not a lot of people, some in little venues and lots of people. So yeah, it's been an interesting last 10 months. Lots of new products, talking to lots of people, lots of custom stands out. So yeah, it's been great fun, and buying the odd card at the same time.
I was going to say, there's obviously the custom stands is what I've seen a lot of people, especially UK side, in terms of breakers, people and whatnot, and vogued by. Is that really growing in popularity, the custom stands? Because for me, with the Top Load podcast ones, it's just the perfect way to encapsulate a collection, to have these custom stands. And on the back of that, it's a bit different at shows, obviously, because people can't just buy them there. Do people buy them at the shows, or is it more like they look at it and then later on they go and like order it on the website, or obviously via like Instagram?
Yeah, so it's a bit of both. So we do take orders at the show, so you do get some people that it's a weird one. They'll see them at one show, and you see them take note and they'll look at it, and then depending on how quick they're at the next show, you'll either get them through Instagram over the next week, 2 weeks, or if you then see them at a show in a month's time, they're like, "Oh, I've seen you at X show beforehand. I was looking at them then, and yeah, I think I can use them," and then they'll place their order there. So yeah, it's always a good one. We tend to see obviously a spike after shows of obviously people ordering the custom stands, but we thought when we launched them just about a year ago or so now, I think it was, that we'd have that initial influx of people that want them, then they might sort of calm down a little bit. But no, there's more and more people breaking, more and more people jumping on. Like you said, Vox, whatnot. People wanting to have them for when they're selling on eBay, because it's a point of difference, isn't it, from all the other sellers that are on there, so people know who they're buying from, more than having to scroll down and look at a name. So yeah, they keep ticking over. Ben will be in the kitchen now designing more, because he's only allowed out on card show days. So he'll be getting fed and watered, and he'll be printing and designing away in the kitchen.
Yeah, we love it. I'm going to pass over to him now to actually speak more about the upcoming show and what to expect, and even maybe a little surprise that people will be able to get from the show.
Yeah, I think, putting it into perspective, as a weekend as a whole, how much preparation goes into you coming to these shows? Or see, it's not exactly a 10-minute journey around the corner for you, but then bringing all the stock with you as well. How far in advance do you look before coming to these shows, and what sort of preparation do you have to do knowing that a show's upcoming?
So obviously Harry releases the date, and all the guys release their dates of the show, so we have to sort of look in his calendars, make sure there's no weddings or we haven't got anything to do with kids on those weekends. And then it's obviously you book your tables, or you book your sponsorship package. You then make sure you get your hotels in nice and early, and then it's sort of that planning sort of month, 6 weeks before the show starts for us. We sort of plan what stock we want to take with us, which stands, how many of each we want to print, what colours, and then obviously factor the printing of them in around the day-to-day, week-to-week orders that we're getting anyway. So like every time we've been like, oh, we'll get another printer now, like it warrants it. It'll really help us prep for getting loads of stock ready for the card shows. And then by the time you've got that printer, it's been set up for 3 weeks, you're starting to get going, and your orders are picked up again, and you're like, we need another show. We need another printer. So yeah, it's all about making sure we get enough stock to have there on the card show days for people to buy, and then obviously the custom stuff for them to order. And then when it comes to actually coming down to a show, especially when we've got to travel, obviously 4.5 hours down to Southerners, the day before a card show, me and Ben will count all the stock, what we've got, we'll work out what we're taking, we'll fill the van up, and then yeah, it's working out what time the next day we're setting off down. We'll probably agree a time at like 2:30 on the Friday to set off down, and then not actually end up leaving until 5 o'clock because we're waiting for something to finish a printer. Is the usual story that happens, and we'll end up in the pub at 9:30, 10 o'clock when we got down there for a couple of beers. Who else is down there on the Friday? So yeah, that's pretty much it to get to a card show, and then it's that long slog of Red Bulls, whatever burger van's on, and just the pure energy that's in the room.
Yeah, I think yes, it's interesting to hear, you know, from when people walk into the front doors at the sort of at London and see your table there and all the product that's on there, but you know, the behind the scenes of trying to get all the stock there and the sort of the weeks leading up into the show to prep. What are, you know, with London being this weekend, what are your expectations for the show? You know, we're going to be moving into the upstairs room, obviously a much bigger number of attendees, and you know, I guess what are your expectations for the business itself, and obviously for you personally with your collections? Are you going to get a chance to move away from the table and eye a few things up yourself, or is it going to be purely just based on the business that weekend?
So I expect a good weekend, as always. A busy one. Obviously, I had a sneaky peek upstairs last year when the honey convention was going on, and it's one big room is that we're going to be filling Saturday, Sunday. So yeah, it's going to be a busy one. We're fortunate enough to have some friends that live down there, local collectors that come and help us out on a London Card Show weekend because it's so busy. Just as a two-man team, it'd almost be impossible, I think, to do it as two of us. You'd be far too busy. The number of people that you talk to, never mind anything else. And then this time, Ben's wife's coming down with us. She's going to see that we're not actually just stood around having a laugh, playing with some cardboard, and we actually do work when we're at these shows. But yeah, we're taking a few extra steps. We're waiting on a couple of deliveries to sort of enhance what our tables look like. We've got a couple of plans to make things stand out, make it look a little sleeker, a little more professional. The way we see it is the more professional and sleeker we make the stuff look, obviously the better the product's going to look, and the more invite it's going to be for people to come over. So yeah, that's the plan, to then have a really good successful weekend. Hopefully take lots of orders for stands, people buy stands. We're going to have some sort of card supplies and stuff with us, as well as a little bit extra. Usually we have 2 tables at London. This year we've got 3, so we've got all 3 tables. They're planned out. We mapped it out on Ben's kitchen floor, and we know what's going on with the tables. The plan's all there. So it's looking like a really positive, and we're actually well organised at this point, even though a couple of things are still left to be delivered. That it's looking really positive for next weekend. So yeah, excited, and hopefully with the extra helpers be able to pop round. It's not only when it's a 2-day event, it's normally the Sunday, Saturday, you rarely get time to go to the toilet, never mind do anything else. So it's usually Sunday where we actually get to have a look around, have a mooch around, decide if there's anything that takes us fancy, or buy a couple of blasters or something to rip ourselves for the journey back. Because obviously you deserve it after the long weekend.
Yeah, I don't think you can say any further than that. And the fact that you definitely deserve that little exciting rip at the end of the weekend. I understand you've obviously got a bit of a preview for a new sort of product you've got coming up at London this weekend.
Yeah, so as people might have heard on Harry's Live the other day, they're having some sort of merch stall. So they're gonna have like mugs, hats, t-shirts, and also they're gonna have, if you're watching it on the old YouTube, you'll be able to see the London Card Show stand that they're going to be available there. He obviously, we arranged with him to get those sorted, and they're all down with him now. He's got them all with him. They're going to be available at $11.99 is what they're available at over the Saturday, and those that are left for the Sunday, if you don't all pick them up on the Saturday. But the more you buy, the more Harry will buy for the next show. So buy away.
I'm sure we're seeing a lot of those stands around on Instagram stories and Instagram posts, I'm sure, over the following week or two from London. So exciting times, and definitely, yeah, a really exciting product to be launched at London. Ron, I'll flick it back over to you, mate.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm definitely gonna be getting one of the boys to pick one of them up for me on the Saturday because I'm not sure if they're going to last to the Sunday. But I think that's the one thing I was going to ask you. Obviously, once I got my stands a good time ago now, and for people who don't know, the original design was like a screw on the back. These new ones are actually you can just place it on. So is it more suitable for a lot more variety of card and bigger sizes? Because I know these ones these are great. Don't get me wrong, I love these. They're using every day, but can you get more on these stands, especially like these custom ones, what the London Card Show have got?
So obviously with the adjustable ones you've got, they're ideal for holding it in place. So obviously you've got the back plate there. So that's the version 2 design you've got there. The version 3 design that we use now is slightly different. But yeah, so they work for up to obviously 360 point mag cards, so that they pretty much cover everything that you can get. But the new ones, these obviously are more ideal for breakers. The way the cards sit on them, and when they're streaming, you don't have to mess around with the back plate at the back. They can just sit them on top, and it sort of works perfect for them. Cards on and off. Same with those that are listed on eBay and all that sort of stuff. It's dead quick, dead easy, and dead handy for them. So we've obviously got all the options for them there. There's obviously the easel as well, for those that like that style. So it's more about giving the customer as many options as they want. There's a couple of other versions that we're working on the minute. We're trying to work on one that's like a lay down one for those that sort of go from above when they're braking or when they're taking the photos, and then one that's similar to this, but the front sort of where the plate of the logo is, it's angled, for those that sort of film on like a 45-degree angle down to the card. So we're working with a couple of people. So we're working with Matt Cully on the angled one and Dan's cards on the lay down one to sort of get those designs right, and then we can launch them to obviously the wider market.
Yeah, fantastic. That's one thing I think what works so well with the product, especially when you get customers, that everyone has different color schemes for their logos or patterns. And have you had, obviously, you've had a big, wide range now of, I remember at the beginning it was just the logos, but you've had quite a few different designs now because some people might just think, oh, it's just a logo that you can have on it, but it's really, really customizable now. And there's some great designs that I've seen out there.
Yeah, so we've done all sorts now. So we've recently for one of our customer that was a Carson Wentz NFL player fan. He's had like a spellbound set of stands done. A couple of the footballers that are now getting into the cards. So Torsten's got one that's his sort of the back of the Fulham shirt. We've obviously Torsten his number underneath it. We've done the same for John Buckley and Bradley Dack, the two Blackburn Rovers players. They've had sort of their name stands done as well. And then people sort of get sort of nameplate like locker room plates, so the player name and then the number that they are, that you see more in America than really in the UK. They have locker room plates. You can sort of sometimes buy signed locker room plates. Obviously in America they'll sign everything. You can probably get signed used socks and stuff out there. But yeah, so sort of that design, and then obviously sort of team names, that sort of stuff. So yeah, if you can get a design for it and it's up to 8 colours, Ben will give it a go.
8 colours as well. Yeah, I was just thinking, I've definitely got to think of a nice granite jacket design now. I know Harry's thinking he's getting a Gunther one. Every single Arsenal player in the squad near enough, it sounded like. Podcast one, HJ. So that's the great thing to see, is so many different options available. And would you say the custom ones are now your most popular products? Or is it still like, I've got a few of your helmet stands, for example, that go on the wall, which are great for like your F1 helmets or the NFL helmets. Are they still doing really well as well?
Yeah, so it sort of ebbs and flows really, depending on what's popular at the time. So the Star Wars, so we do a amount for like full size Star Wars helmets. So they're really popular all year round because Star Wars is Star Wars. It's on all the time on Disney Plus and stuff. For people to watch, and they're buying their helmets and stuff. But sort of the sports side of it, it's more what's on TV, what's relevant. So you start to see a spike in it at those points. And then depending on obviously what part of the seasons you're at, you see sort of the colour sort of flow with that. So at the minute you see quite a lot of program mounts with obviously red and green for the Chiefs and the Eagles. And keep the face straight, Ronnie. Come on, the Eagles. And yeah, so we're working with 5-star to do the programs and mounts and stuff with those. So we've managed to secure an extra 10 programs to bring down to London with us for this year's Super Bowl. So we'll have those available on this table, also for people to buy on the Saturday and the Sunday if they haven't managed to get hold of a Super Bowl program. And some people might not even know that it's possible that you can get hold of Super Bowl programs in the UK. But yeah, we've got them. We'll have them with us, and they'll be available. We'll have the program top loaders and mounts with us as well. So we've got everyone covered.
Yeah, fantastic. And just to end up on, we're always keen on asking for people advice at card show, especially if people haven't been before. Have you got like one piece of advice for someone who's attending a card show? Because it's very easy to get lost in the moment at a card show, and just you end up walking around in circles and you just have no real idea.
Especially at London, because it's so big and so many people. Piece of advice number 1: buy from third down displays. Yeah, but the real piece of advice would be take your time. You don't need to spend all your money by 10:15. It's a long day. There's 200 tables in there this year for the show at the weekend. So take your time, have a look round, and the likelihood is the card will still be there when you get back. But if it is something that the reason you've gone is for that card, just pick it up and get it. Hustle. Always hustle.
100%. I think that's the massive one as well, that even though something might have a price on, there's always wiggle room in them prices. And don't forget as well, I always say, don't forget people, they can trade as well. Always ask if people are interested in other things. But in between now and obviously Saturday, Sunday, whereabouts can people find you if they want to have a look at the products and potentially order some stuff as well?
So there's the website, www.thirddown.co.uk, or you can find us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Third Down Displays, on there. So yeah, just if you've got any questions or anything, or you want anything specific bringing to the card show for to look at, if it's sort of more memorabilia display wise, just drop us a message, because the majority of the stuff we do take to the card shows are for cards. Obviously, a lot of people collect memorabilia and stuff as well. So if there's something specific you want in, drop us a message and we'll do our best to get it printed and bring it down with us.
Yeah, like I say, the Instagram post and on the YouTube, it'll be down below the link to the website and for the socials anyway. But as we say, we wish you all the best of luck this weekend. We look forward to seeing you as well. And hopefully a lot of them custom sounds keep flying, because I do love watching them as you post them out on the Instagram.
Thank you, buddy. Thank you.
And now, moving on to the last part, we're going to take a short break, but we'll be joined by Jason, who's with my El Toro Cards, to look at it from a buyer's perspective at the show. This is going to be an interesting end of the segment, because me and Harry normally have no idea and end up spending all of our money. Massive thank you yet again to Third Down Displays for joining us. And now, moving on to the last part of the London Card Show special, we are joined by the Spanish collector from Essex. Yeah, he's going to explain it briefly in a second. But Jason, welcome to the Top Loaded Podcast. How are you, my friend?
I'm all good. Thank you for having me on. Yeah, all good. Let's get the show on the road.
Oh, 100%. I've got to ask for everyone listening, because there is a reason why you claim to have a Spanish PC. God. Also, I've got to bring up now, you do claim to be related to someone who once played for Barcelona.
Yeah, Lionel Messi. No, I'm joking. I wish it was Lionel Messi. No, so from the mum side of the family, it's full Spanish. So I'm half Spanish, claim to be full Spanish. And for the Spanish Barcelona player, it is Pinto. You probably won't know him. I think he's got one compilation of him saving a penalty, showing he was going the other way. That's his claim to fame. But yeah, he's I believe he's cousin or second cousin. I need to make sure, but yeah. So I've got a SGC card of him. So yeah,
get your family tree out.
Exactly.
Absolutely love it. Well, his claim to fame is he's related to someone who has been on the field with Messi, and yeah, well, I'm not going to say that because I relate to absolutely no one. So we might as well talk about the show. Obviously, it's building up now. It's only a few days away. We all can't wait for it now. And Harry, have you got any key bits of advice, just in general, before we go into actual detail on trade night and the actual, like when everyone goes to their first show or even multiple, what is them bits of advice that you would offer? Because it can be a daunting experience going to a show.
Yeah, I think, there is a lot of points and advice you could give to someone coming to London as their first show. I know Third Down Displays touched on it through their advice. And I think the key bit of advice is just to take your time. I know my first ever London card show at the sports hall, and I think I'd been there for 2 hours and I'd blown my budget already. Like I went in head first, or all the cards I saw that I liked, and I was like, I've got nothing else to do once I go home. So it is really important, but it is important to go there with a budget. But for me, just take your time, walk around, assess the situation, see what's about, interact with people. You know, no one, you're all there for the same reason. Don't feel like you're going to be, no one's going to reply to you, no one's going to talk to you, everyone's going to ignore you. Like, we're all there for the same reason. So interact with people, but most importantly, just take your time, wander around, see what's about, see what cards are about, see what cards take your fancy, remember it. If it's a good enough price, you don't want to let it go, you know, try and negotiate a deal then. But for me, it's to go there with a budget and just take your time. Don't rush in like a bull in a china shop like I did, and after 2 hours have nothing else to look at or to purchase. So yeah, honestly, that would be my sort of key bit of advice. But most importantly is just to interact with people. That was the thing that really took me by surprise. I think my second show, I think I rocked up on my own. It was the first show at Sandown. I was like, just going to go on my own and see what the vibe is like. And you get talking to people on Instagram. You say, oh, like, you know, when we're there, we'll grab a quick chat and put a face to the Instagram handle, and it brings it a lot more to life. And I think, you know, when you're meeting people that you've spoken to for 6-7 months, I know the same with when I was with you, Ronnie. You know, I've been speaking to Ronnie on Instagram for months and never knew what he looked like, never knew what, you know, anything about him. And then we met in London, and it's been, you know, the rest is history. So yeah, there would be my key bits of advice for anyone heading to London for your first, second, third, fourth show. Yeah.
So, Jason, obviously, just touching on what Harry just said there regarding actual people within the hobby. And I've heard a lot of people say this week, and I know we've all mentioned it as well, that actually it's the people at the show that most people actually go there for. Obviously, it's great having the cars there, being able to do deals, but do you think that's really key in it, that people actually go in there because you actually got good mates within the hobby?
Oh, 100%. Normally, you know, you talk to guys on Instagram for, say, I think after COVID, normally a year, and then you see them in real life and you have to ask them what their Instagram handle is. I remember talking to, I think it was DJen on Instagram, speaking to him about, you know, cards, and 30 minutes in, I was like, are you DJing? He was like, yeah, mate. And I was like, yeah, I'm El Toro. And, you know, after 30 minutes of chatting, you realise, you know, who you're chatting to. Obviously, if you talk to people on Instagram, obviously they know who you are. Normally they look out for the cards you want to buy. So going to the show, I'll probably buy, you know, Yenry Pino, Sergio Ribas, Sergio Ramos, basically Spanish players. And I remember, I think it was you, Ronnie, seeing a Brian Gill out of 10 in Fora's little
Yes.
£1, £10 boxes. And I think, yeah, out of 10, I think Illusions for 10 quid, I was like, you know, bargain, just for the PC itself. Yeah, just talking to other people, getting to know them, and, you know, even talking to sellers for the vendors itself. So I remember me and Harry going to Ticket Slabs for the first time and the last London card show, just talking about the tickets, some of it, the stuff that he's got. So yeah, it's just, yeah, it's good to, you know, see people in real life, you know, have a chat with them and spend time with them instead of, you know, talking on Instagram for about 20 minutes.
Oh, no, I think that's a brilliant point. I think as well, I think every single person, like you said, with you and Paddy, obviously, DJen, of you can be talking to someone for a good 10, 15 plus minutes. And it's until you actually say, are you this person or anything? Really, everyone should
Yeah.
walk around with, like, I always said to Harry for a laugh that on your tickets for the show, you should be able to have like a bit where you can put your username or something like that.
Oh, that would be class.
I might
It's
actually
not a bad
try
idea, that, Ron.
Yeah.
I might trademark that one for the next show. I might reach out with the idea. But no, it's such a great experience. And like from all the shows, speaking to everyone, I remember like every time going to the pub in between that and trade night, obviously now, which we'll get onto in a minute. But it's like you say, you're creating, the hobby's a great place as it is, but then obviously all the people, and it's crazy to think how far and wide people come from as well. That it's not everyone just in around the same corner. You've got people traveling down from Scotland, from Manchester, all the way up, like up from Southampton, South Coast. So it's fantastic. And like you say, also when you do speak to a lot of people, people do look out for each other and look out for cars. Because I remember back in the July show, I was vending at that one, and I think it was both of you two actually. It was like, oh, there's a Xhaka on this table, and it's that from the thing, because no one can see every card at a show. It's impossible. Everyone's going to miss at least one card. It's like you say, the Brian Hill at
Exactly.
Forest flick through, or if someone's, I know, for example, Harry was looking for certain parts of his rainbow for Gunther Steiner, you'd be looking out for that. And it's just a great experience. And also,
you did, can I just add?
thank you. Yep. Tick that one off. You can pay me later for that one. But no, I think it's just a great experience in general. And back to you, Harry. What we always do is look out for each other's cards, and it's not just a process of taking cards. People get deals done in lead up. I know you've done this before, that you've reached out to people, spoke about it, and got a deal done. And that's the important thing is to know is put out what you're bringing along to trade or sell, because people might want to make a pre-deal with you. Like, I think this is perfect for you because you've actually done that in the past.
Yeah, I think, yes, it's a great tool to have where people are posting out stuff on Instagram to say that I'm bringing these to London. If you want to buy it, we can then save yourself on postage and stuff like that and make a deal at the show. And you think even I made a deal at the last London card show where I literally paid half of the amount at the time to secure the deal, then paid the latter half obviously at the show, and we did the handover. So it's a really good tool to have, and it's a really great way of people going to see what cards are going to be there. You know, it's going to be a drop in the ocean to compare to what you're actually going to see at the show. But to have that element where you can almost make a pre-deal at the show or have an eye and see what is actually going to be there, and you can then take your pick off of that. But also, yeah, it's important not to get too engrossed into what goes on to the Instagram stories, because it is a drop in the ocean to what selection is going to actually be at the show. And for all you know, the card that you might buy from the show, you might not even follow them on Instagram. But yeah, so that element of these shows is really, really good, and it's really useful because, like I said, you know, I paid half at the time of the deal, and then the latter half when we did the handover at the show. So it's really good to make those sorts of deals because, you know, if it's a card that you really want and London's 2 weeks away and you don't want to risk the postage or risk the, you know, Royal Mail or anything like that, you've got that ability to just go, listen, you're going to London, cool, we'll do a handover in 2 weeks' time, and we'll take it from each other then. So yeah, it's a great aspect, and I think, you know, it's really one that people do and people can benefit from it as well.
Definitely.
Saves postage.
Yeah, 100%. That's a great thing. And I'm not saying anything about Royal Mail or anything, but sometimes they can't be as trusted as other places. But I think another thing as well is the floor plan has just come out, and coming to you, Jace, it's always important to have not really a game plan, so to speak, but you know where you're going. For example, I know that there's a certain stall that you're going to be going straight over to because you've got some good deals there before. So do you think it's important to have a look at the seating plan before you go and just have a rough idea of what kind of stalls are there, what you might be interested from, and just have that in your mind before going in so you're not completely blinded by the headlights?
I'm being honest, walking in, I'll probably be blinded by the headlights anyway. Normally I go with a game plan, but that goes straight out of the window first thing. But yeah, no, 100%. Just on Instagram, normally you see the people that you follow, if they are a vendor, just seeing where they are based, seeing where they are. So you make sure you go to them first, or just see your mates, or even going to, you know, grading club to get your cars graded, or getting, you know, stands from third downs. But yeah, normally it's always good to have a game plan. For me, I'll probably say my game plan's going to be, you know, Spanish people. Maybe to go more vintage, which I think there's not a lot of vintage in the card shows in the UK. Obviously, in America, there's, you know, loads and loads. But yeah, go to the tables that you know you're most comfortable at. Maybe, you know, where you're going to get you think you're going to get your deals. I know I'm probably going to be going to. I can't remember what. I think it's Jojo JMS. He does completely just all vintage, pre-war, which I think is new in the London card show. I'm going to be going to him for Paco Hinto with my PC. So yeah, just look at the floor plan, see what there is, and obviously meet up with people to get some more deals.
Definitely, I think that's a great point, especially after you've been a couple. So obviously, if people's their first show, it's one of them that you got to learn the actual vendors for the next time. But once you've been a couple, you kind of know. Especially, it's a lot of repeat. So, for example, Wedding Collectibles that we get on very well with always has some really nice stuff, and I would always recommend people checking them out after the boys go there so they can get their good deals. But
I don't think there'll be anything left.
Yeah, definitely not especially when Jason's going in. Really do need to get there before him. But obviously, that's just a bit of the main show. But obviously, trade night as well. I really want to touch on this because obviously it's absolutely ginormous in the States, trade nights. You see most of the big deals get done at trade nights. And I've done quite a few nice deals at trade nights over the last couple that I've been to. And I think the one thing to keep in mind is that in the daytime, vendors don't get the chance to go away from their tables to make deals, buy stuff, sell stuff, and trade stuff. Whereas at trade night, they actually do manage to get away from the table. And obviously, we know that they've got that high stock level so they can bring stuff out and actually want to get deals on because obviously they've made a bit of money during the day. So, Harry, obviously, the last trade night, you actually come away from quite good deals.
Yeah, some bizarre deals as well, to be honest. I think trade night's a great aspect, and I think it's going to be even bigger than it was last time. I think we've touched on it pretty well in that segment where trades really aren't as apparent and aren't as popular here in the UK as they are compared to the US. And I think it's an element that we are, as a community in the UK, are getting better with, but I think we can still grow in the trading aspect of these shows. And trading night really enhances that because there's so many better ways you can get a deal done, including trades, because obviously both parties benefit. You're both getting cards out of it, a bit extra cash here and there. And I think, the trade night really does enhance that because you are purely just trading. I mean, I think there was a guy that come to a couple of cards I'd laid out, and I had like a PSA 6 Machamp Pokemon. I ended up trading with me for a PSA 8 George Russell from 2021 Chrome. I mean, it was by pure fluke that the right guy had to come and walk along and be like, got these F1 slabs, don't watch F1, don't know anything about it. I collect my champ, want to do a trade, and obviously I'm massively into my F1 myself. So I'm thinking win-win situation. So it's deals like that where it really proves how important trading can be and will be in the UK community that we really need to try and knuckle down on and try and incorporate more into deals, whether it be during the day or specifically at trade night. So yeah, trade night's going to be wicked. I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah, definitely. It's sad to be missing that one. And obviously, Jason, I know that you've got a bit of a game plan in terms of for the actual trade night. That if you've got a few things that you're going to be taking with you to trade night, and I've said to you on multiple occasions before that I think it's a really good thing to actually walk in, not just cash as your liquid asset, because it's one of them cash. It's great, but people sometimes want to have another asset in exchange. So, how do you find actually taking cards a lot? Obviously, it's going to be quite different to the last one because you've actually got a different array of stuff this one to take with you. So, are you looking forward to having that asset with you on the table at trade night and hopefully be able to get some deals done, but potentially you might not be able to get done in the daytime?
No, 100%. I think my arm is not going to be looking forward to carrying all them cards, all around and then putting it on the table. But yeah, no, 100% getting my shipment back from Griller Ships and other places as well. Got a lot of stock in. I'm being honest, I think I'm the only one here that hasn't actually traded something in trade night. Maybe it shows how bad my stock is. Yeah, gonna have a few more cards. I think more cards that maybe people more interested in, not just me. Obviously not everyone's interested in Spanish cards, but obviously Spanish Pedri, everyone's interested in Pedri, Jude. I'm going to be bringing some of them along. But yeah, going to be looking forward to that. And as well, if I run out of cash, I've got some cards to use as trade to get the card that they have. So it'll be good. It'll be good. It's a new experience, and obviously in the new hall as well, which will be better.
Yeah, just touched on that because I know that you're like myself. You're going to go into the world of YouTube soon. Eh? Is it going to be something that you're potentially going to document for people, like the actual experience of trade night, or even afterwards, like looking back at some of the stuff you picked up? Because I think a lot of people might be interested to see that from different point of views.
No, 100%, 100%. Not too sure if I'll be filming this card show, but the next card show I will, if I am going, which I'll make sure I will do. But yeah, no, 100%. Because if there's people at home not able to come to the card show, it's always nice for them to see what actually happened on the day. How trades are done in the UK. Because in America, as you and Harry said, that it's constant. It's constant. Everyone's most deals are trades, but in the UK, I feel like it's a market that everyone's not wanting to do. I think everyone likes cash. Everyone likes to have cash. But if you've got a card that you can't really move on, but someone's interested in trade, it's an easier deal. It's an easier deal. But no, looking forward to it. Yeah, might record some stuff, but yeah, and I'm being honest as well. When I go to the card show, maybe a few weeks later to see some YouTube videos, just to remind how it was a good day and all that, and just remember some of the deals your mates or you done.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. I think everyone loves watching the card show content, and especially
100%.
like I said, some people can't get to it, whether it's because they've got other plans, they're not able to, and to be able to show it off, not show off, but just actually promote what's going on over in the UK. So I know a lot of the US guys do watch it, and I think that's going to be a really big thing going forward, not just for the people in the UK scene, but obviously we had it at the last one with Sunday League Investor. We had Trike and obviously Ryan Card Collector 2 come over and really start exposing the UK scene of what it is, and actually I've seen quite a few people on Whatnot and I've saying, oh, that's already come over. So that's a great thing. And with you, Harry, on Trade Night, one of my main areas of concern has been in the past, which I hope it's not, is it does sometimes feel like some people are basically setting up as a vendor rather than trying to trade. Like all they want to do is sell. Yeah. I know it's called Trade Night for a reason. You're meant to be trading. It's right to sell things. I guarantee you that. It's fine. Everyone would love to make a bit of cash. But in the past, have you seen that as a very small downside to a very successful Trade Night?
Yeah, I mean, off the top of my head, I really can't think of any con that stands out significantly of a trade night. I do get the point where obviously sometimes people do just set up as if it's like a free vendor spot and it's a trade night. But I tell you what, here's my case, under everything, just sit there and wait for people to come to me. Which, we were fortunate enough last time to have a couple of us sitting around where we could say this and look after our cars when we go for a wander around. But I think it's important that if people are coming up to you and being like, what's your price on X? To say, what have you got to trade for? I think, if people are going, oh, I don't know, £50, oh, cool, here's 50 quid. That's the element where you're taking away trade night. You're more just saying it's an extended show in the evening. So I think it's about the people that are going there to try and trade as opposed to buy cards. But I think it is maybe the only very small tweak that will probably need to be done. You can't go in there and go, no buying or selling is allowed. It has to be trades only, because it's never going to work like that. But I think it probably is the only very small tweak that needs to be, as a community, we are going in there and saying, this is for trading. We don't know if you buy on the odd one or two cards here and there, then it's not going to be an issue. But if you go in there solely just as an image to be like, right, I'm set up my table here, these are my cards, wait for someone to come to me. Like, that's not what trade night is there for. But I think as an overall, there's not really too much you can, say anything bad about trade night, because I think it is wicked and it brings that element into the UK. But I guess just the people that are going there are there for the right reasons, as opposed to like a free event spot for an extended show.
No, I think that's a great point. And like we say, I think the hobby is getting to a very good point where we all understand it a lot more, and it adds that extra bonus to the shows having these trade nights. And obviously, both of you two are experiencing both of the days. Obviously, I'm experiencing one, so but for both of you, it's actually a new experience. Because how I've always seen it as a 2-day show is it's very hard. Obviously, you've got to make your money last, which is a very tricky thing anyway. But certain cards will be available at a price on the Saturday, but could be cheaper the Sunday, or they could be available the Saturday, not available the Sunday. So it's quite a hard one mentally to work out a plan for 2 days. But I think it will come down to, and I'm no doubt that Jason will agree here, that if it is what you think of a card that you've not seen and you really want it in the PC, you've got to try and make that deal there and then, because you can say, oh, I'll save it to tomorrow. It might be 20% cheaper, but there's 1,800 to 2,000 people on the Saturday, and it's looking like near enough 1,000 on Sunday. So it's a case of, Jason, that if you see a card, you've got to try and make the deal. Even though you need money to last both days, it's still a case of you might not see that item again, or at the same price. It could go up, could go down. Because how I'm seeing it as well is it's a full Premier League weekend that weekend. So what happens if a player at 3 o'clock goes and scores a hat-trick? On the Sunday, his price might go up 30 quid. So would that be your thing as well, of make sure you just live the moment of, if it's a card you like, don't think about saving the money in terms of tomorrow. Try and get that deal done as you see it.
No, 100%. Hopefully the vendor doesn't have Wi-Fi to check the scores if that player that I want has scored. I'm probably the worst one to ask, but normally I just see a card, I buy it, and then Sunday I'll have no money and have no cards because I've, traded them and then used the money. But I would say be very clever with your money. Everyone's probably more clever than me with the money, but I would say don't hold out too long, just because, for example, I was when me and Harry was ticket slabs, I remember we kept going back to the table for that Saka ticket. I'm being honest, I was very surprised that it was still there, very surprised. Yeah, don't hold out too long. But yeah, just, I'm being honest as well, sometimes that, if you know the vendor, very well, you can go, okay, I'll have the cash in like 10 minutes, and you'll have a quick walk around and then make the deal then. But yeah, don't hold out too long because you'll lose out on the deal. And if it's something that low numbered or a high grade or something that you want to cherish and it'll be in your PC, I think try and make the deal and hopefully both the vendor and yourself come off with a good deal, because they'll always be happy to give you a card that's in your PC. For example, I remember I told the guy I collect Pinot, and he knew that, so he gave me a card for a cheaper discount, which is always nice to have.
Yeah,
I mean,
think
Ronnie,
that's-
obviously, we were both there on the Saturday last time round. And obviously, you touched on the fact, obviously, me and Jason, they're going to be there the whole weekend. You're only there,
Yes.
going to be there on the Sunday. Obviously, me and you both experiencing just the Sunday last time around. What are you expecting coming up to this show? Only being there on the Sunday this time, and also experiencing them both like the opposite day of the show compared to last time round.
Yeah, I'm quite intrigued actually by being there just a Sunday, because I think it's going to work both ways in terms of, obviously, yes, people on the Saturday will have maybe, I wouldn't even say more cards to choose from, because there'll be new vendors on the Sunday than there is to the Saturday. And a lot of people would actually think, oh, these vendors are going to have to try and clear these cards out for cheap. But she's going to go, if they do, it works in your favour being there the Sunday. So I'm quite optimistic for the Sunday and just experiencing it in a different way. So I'm hoping next time I will be able to do both days as well. So I can see the Saturday point of view, just the Sunday point of view, and the whole weekend experience with trade night. But I'm quite optimistic for just the Sunday. Obviously, there's a few other things playing on the Sunday as well, in terms of you've got the match tax swap shop. So there'll be a lot of people there, but it might not necessarily be in the so-called higher end products. So I'm actually really looking forward to it. And like with some of the stuff we've got planned, like especially content, it's going to be really interesting. I'll be vlogging the day as well on my channel. So it'd be quite interesting to see. Obviously, you'll be filming on the Saturday, I'll be filming on the Sunday. And it'd be quite a good comparison for people, because some people might be thinking that, oh, I'm not around the Saturday, so I can only go to Sunday. But is it worth going to Sunday? It's the last day of the show. But I'm got a feeling that there's going to be good deals to be had. And the good thing as well is vendors will be picking cards up at trade night, which will then go on for sale, which people might, obviously, if me, you and Jason walk around, you're not necessarily walking around with your case open. So, but at trade night, if someone picks up that card, they might have it on their, like, the counter for the next day. So I'm really looking forward to it. Hopefully be able to get some lovely Gabrielle and Jacques cards. But most importantly as
crossed.
well, for the Sunday, to keep in mind, I'm quite intrigued to see how the merchandise does that Harry and the team have brought on, because you've got beautiful Vault X binders that we was lucky enough to have a sneak peek, which look fantastic. So I recommend everyone. But then also further down the stage,
Jealous.
literally in part 2, showed us the new card stands, which are at $11.99, which I think is an absolutely ridiculously good price. Which I will be getting one of these two boys to pick me one up on the Saturday, because I've got a feeling they won't make it to the Sunday.
Only if you ask nicely.
That's all right. You'll
Plus
see me just camp
postage.
out there as it opens and go straight to Arsenal, so I make sure I get one. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to the Sunday perspective, especially bringing content with it as well, because I think a lot of people have that question. I think it's a very good question of, what is a Sunday like at a card show? Because in America, some of them are 3-4 days, and obviously every day gets quieter, a bit slower. So I'm really looking forward to it, and obviously it's this weekend.
No, but I was going to say as well, I think, I don't know for Harry, but this is my first time for Sunday as well. So hopefully, you can see, I think last London Card Show, I think there was a bit more Pokemon on the Sunday. So that could be, good for Pokemon collectors to maybe, go on Saturday to see Pokemon, and Sunday, which will be hopefully more. But yeah, for me, it's going to be the first time on Sunday. So it'll be a good insight to see, how it will be, if there's cards still there, more stock, or, different vendors, really.
Yeah, definitely. I think obviously now, as this is coming out, it's Tuesday at 7 p.m. Obviously, the show starts for VIPs at 9:30 on Saturday, open the same time Saturday and Sunday at 9:30, and for the general entry, it is 10 o'clock. So it is right on our doorstep now. It's literally a few days away. When some people are listening to this, it could be traveling to the show. And I've just asked for some closing words just about the show and just what you want to try and pick up and what you're looking forward to it. So, Harry, just a last few closing notes before the end of the episode about what you're feeling for this show coming up, and what you think, how it's going to go for you as a collecting at the show.
Yeah, I'm buzzing for it. I'm really excited for the first show of this year. Obviously you're always looking. So I know obviously running me and you already pre-made a deal, obviously for the show on the Sunday. But obviously, yeah, anything Arsenal, anything usually Pierre Gasly or Gunther Steiner, Hamilton. They're probably the massive PC bits for me. But no, I'm buzzing for it. Obviously, got a lot of content planned for the Saturday, which obviously hopefully be going up as my debut video on my YouTube channel a couple of days after the weekend's done. And also, yeah, then it's obviously taking the Sunday. Obviously, you'll be there on the Sunday, Ron. So it'll be good to have you back on the Sunday. But I'm really looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward to catching up with people, obviously, from the previous show. And I'll sort of meeting a couple of new faces that obviously I've made deals with over the last couple of weeks at the show on the Saturday as well. So, yeah, I'm buzzing for it. Yeah, really excited for the first show of this year. And yeah, new venue as well, or a new venue, but not a new venue. So, yeah, I'm buzzing for it, mate. I can't wait. What about yourself?
Yeah, I really can't wait for it. Like I say, especially with picking up some recent deliveries as well, getting a bit of a feel for the shows when, especially you see other people's content. There's been some amazing shows over in the States that I've been seeing, and it's one of them that it seems like last week since the last one, but it's in the week before drags normally. You're like, right,
Yeah.
just get me to the show, especially so. Lucky enough, I'll be fortunate enough. I'll be at Arsenal this Saturday, so I won't be at the show, but I'll be especially that Saturday. I'm going to be in the group chat. Go on, what pickups, boys? Especially at trade night, I'll be like, "What's going on? Let us know." And then obviously Sunday morning, first thing, just before it all opens, I'll be standing outside the Surrey Hall at Sandown. Really looking forward to meeting you guys and obviously getting in, having a look around, filming some content, just meeting people. So I'm, I actually would say I'm more on the side of just looking forward to talk to people again. Because it's great. Don't get me wrong; it's great talking over Instagram, but it's never the same as in person. You don't have to wait for someone to read it; they could be at work. So, really, really looking forward to it. And obviously, Jason will be going along with you this Saturday as well, and obviously be with me Sunday. So, how you looking forward to it, Jason? Obviously, we know you PC about 487 different Spaniards, but is there
Me
anyone in
500.
particular, anyone in particular that you'll be looking for at the show, and like how you're feeling about the show?
Well, my main PC, I'll probably say is Paco Hento, which probably 99.9% of people don't know who that is, unless you're probably in the vintage market. So, gonna, well, by chance, find him. Sergio Ribas, a Real Madrid player, in the Merlin set in some Stadium Club Chrome. So I'm going to be looking at see if there's any of him. I might be picking up some Yeremy Pino. I'm a bit undecided with that, and obviously Sergio Ramos. I'm gonna 100% get him. No, I'm looking forward to the show. I still can't believe it's only 1 week. It's like Christmas. Just can't wait for it to come, and then yeah, just can't wait. Just hopefully spend all my money. Don't go home bankrupt, which probably will happen. Which happened probably the last time, the other time, the other time. I'll probably have a
This is not a
message
selling
from
point for the London Card Show. Do not go there and get bankrupt.
Oh, you can't predict anything, honestly. And have Barclays on the phone. But no, excited. I think as well, going into the card show, I've got obviously, as you said, more stock, just cards wise, graded cards wise. But yeah, try not to do what I done on the first card show. I think it was about 4 hours. I didn't buy one single card because I was like, I wanted the perfect card. I end up buying a Carlos Sainz PSA 10 Sapphire, which has gone down about 100 quid. So that's not gonna be my plan. But yeah, no, gonna be good, but gonna go well in collectibles. So that's gonna be the main one. So shout out to them.
Yeah, I think, like I said, we're all really looking forward to the show now. It's literally upon us. So we really do wish everyone who's going, we look forward to seeing you there. Hopefully, be able to grab a chat, see what you're buying, what you're selling, hopefully get some deals done as well. Obviously, everyone who's not there, we look forward to bringing you some content so it feels like you haven't missed it. And there'll be our next episode, episode 50, which is obviously going to be a special one for us, but it'll be the London show recap where we'll talk about our pickups, what we thought about the show, looking forward to it. At that time, we'll have the new dates of the new show as well, which will be announced this Sunday at the show. So, from the three of us, we really looking forward to the show. Jason, welcome to the Top Load Podcast. We'd love to have you back on in the future, and good luck with the card show
Fingers
and also
crossed.
your YouTube venture as well. We really look forward to watching
Thank
the
you.
progress.
Thank you.
But from the three of us, we hope everyone out there is doing well, staying safe, buying, selling, trading at the card show, and most importantly, happy hobbying and good night.